Welcome back. Last month, we dove into the topic of ovarian cancer. But how can you know you have cancer when certain types go undetected until it's too late? A genetic counselor can help pinpoint risk from your family health history. KTV's Taylor Deckard sat down with a genetic counselor who works with patients at the Junie Island Cancer Center. That's tonight's Healthbeat 4.
Genetic counseling provides you with the information on how genetic conditions might affect you or your family, using the information like a code to determine how likely it is that you or your family might have a genetic condition, looking for red flags in your family history.
A young cancer in the family, so someone diagnosed under the age of 50 with like a breast, ovarian, pancreas, colon, any of that stuff. If there are multiple people in the family with that same type of cancers, having grandma with ovarian cancer or a mom with pancreatic cancer, any of those rarer ones, those are all clues that make us suspicious that maybe there's something going on in the family and we could offer genetic testing.
Once someone has been deemed to have relations to cancer, that's when a doctor can approve you to get a genetic test. She visits with patients virtually every week at Junie Island Cancer Center, trying to reach as many people that need testing.
Because if we find something and then we have kind of an address of where to look at in other people.
Cancer is common. 1 in 3 people will be diagnosed with something in their lifetime.
But it can seem like, nobody in my family has had it until it happens to you or a relative. And then it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm seeing cancer everywhere. And so it's really important to be, on top of those screenings. We like to say knowledge is powerful.
Tests can only be done with the referral of a doctor. For Healthbeat 4, Taylor Deckard, KTIV News 4.
And you can read more about this story right now on KTIV.com. But to start the process for genetic counseling, you need a doctor's referral to have a consultation. So make sure to speak with your oncologist, family medicine doctor, or OBGYN.